The Sureños' expansion into Northern California is a fascinating and complex story. Despite Northern California traditionally being dominated by the Nuestra Familia and its allied Norteños, the Sureños have managed to carve out territories in several key areas. Here's how they did it. The Mexican Mafia, commonly known as La M, has played a pivotal role in the expansion of Sureño gangs into Northern California. Here's a detailed examination of how La M facilitated this territorial growth, emphasizing their historical development, strategic operations, and alliances with major drug cartels. Founded in 1957 at the Duell Vocational Institution in California by Luis Huero Buff Flores, La M was established to protect Mexican-American inmates within the prison system. Over time, it evolved into a dominant criminal organization, exerting control over Hispanic street gangs, particularly in Southern California. These affiliated gangs became known as Sureños, or Southerners, and were recognized for their allegiance to La M. The 1970s marked a significant period when La M's influence began permeating Northern California. This era witnessed a violent conflict between La M and the Nuestra Familia, NF, a rival prison gang formed by Northern California inmates. The outcome of this war led to a territorial division. Gangs from Southern California aligned with La M as Sureños, while those from the north became known as Norteños, pledging loyalty to NF. Despite this division, La M sought to extend its reach into Northern California through several strategies. Control over drug distribution. La M aimed to monopolize drug trafficking operations within prison walls and extended this control to street-level activities. By directing Sureño gangs to manage drug distribution networks, they established a foothold in northern territories. Extortion and taxation. La M imposed a tax on drug dealers and gangs operating in areas under their influence. Those who refused to comply faced severe repercussions, including violence or death. This system of extortion ensured a steady flow of income and reinforced their dominance. Violence and intimidation. To assert control and deter opposition, La M sanctioned numerous violent acts against rival gangs and non-compliant individuals. High-profile incidents include the 1991 stabbing of Salvador Mon Buenrostro in the Los Angeles County Jail by La M members Benjamin Topo Peters and Rene Boxer Enriquez. La M's expansion was significantly bolstered by strategic alliances with larger Mexican drug cartels. These partnerships facilitated the influx of narcotics into the United States and consolidated La M's control over distribution channels. Notable collaborations include La Familia Michoacana. In the early 2000s, La Familia sought La M's protection for its leaders incarcerated in U.S. prisons. In return, they offered a continuous supply of methamphetamine. These negotiations were notably infiltrated by Ralph Perico Rocha, an informant for the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, ATF, who secretly recorded the interactions. Tijuana Cartel, Los Angeles-based Mexican drug trafficking organizations, DTOs, and criminal groups closely aligned with the Tijuana Cartel, a dominant force in western Mexico. This alliance enhanced La M's access to narcotics and expanded their distribution capabilities within California. These collaborations not only enriched La M, but also fortified their influence over Sureño gangs, enabling a more assertive push into Northern California territories. La M's strategic maneuvers, encompassing control over drug distribution, extortion practices, and alliances with powerful Mexican cartels, have been instrumental in the expansion of Sureño gangs into Northern California. Their ability to orchestrate operations both within prison walls and on the streets underscores their enduring influence in the region's criminal landscape. The Sureños, a coalition of street gangs originating from Southern California, have expanded their influence into Northern California through strategic alliances with major Mexican drug cartels, notably the Sinaloa Cartel and the Cartel de Jalisco Nueva Generación, CJNG. These partnerships have enabled the Sureños to control lucrative drug routes and establish distribution networks that challenge local Norteño operations. Here are specific instances illustrating this dynamic. 1. Sinaloa Cartel's deep entrenchment in Northern California. In January 2025, federal authorities announced the arrest of 44 individuals across Northern California linked to a wide-ranging drug and weapons trafficking operation run by the Sinaloa Cartel. This operation, spanning 15 separate cases, included a significant seizure of 572 pounds of methamphetamine in Sunnyvale. The cartel's influence extended through various cities, with charges related to drug trafficking, firearms trafficking, and conspiracy. The Sinaloa Cartel's ability to establish distribution hubs in cities like Sunnyvale underscores their collaboration with local gangs, including the Sureños, to facilitate drug distribution. CBS News 2. Brown Brotherhood Gang's drug and firearm charges in Solano County. In March 2025, 4 members of the Vallejo-based Brown Brotherhood Gang, affiliated with the Sureños, were indicted on federal drug and firearm charges. A raid in February uncovered guns, cash, and thousands of fentanyl pills. The Brown Brotherhood has been implicated in activities such as murder, robbery, extortion, and firearms trafficking. Their operations highlight the Sureños' involvement in distributing narcotics sourced from Mexican cartels within Northern California communities. San Francisco Chronicle, Botla 1, Sabis. 3. Concord Shopping Center. One-stop drug and gun operation. In September 2020, at least 15 suspected Sureño gang members were charged with operating an outdoor bazaar in a Concord shopping center parking lot, selling illegal drugs including heroin and cocaine, as well as firearms. This one-stop shop was indicative of the Sureños' organized approach to drug distribution in Northern California. The operation's brazenness in a public space underscores the gang's confidence and the depth of cartel influence in local communities. CBS News. 4. Fentanyl trafficking in Sacramento and Yolo counties. In December, a federal case implicated individuals in Sacramento and Woodland in the distribution of fentanyl pills originating from the Sinaloa Cartel. The investigation linked the traffickers to a series of overdoses and deaths in Yolo County. The defendants were connected to the Fruit Ridge Vista Norteños gang, illustrating the complex relationships between local gangs and major cartels in controlling drug distribution networks. These examples demonstrate the Sureños' strategic alliances with powerful Mexican cartels, enabling them to control drug routes and establish distribution networks in Northern California, thereby challenging and undercutting local Norteño operations. The expansion of Sureño gangs into Northern California has been influenced by various factors, including the migration of families from Southern California seeking better economic opportunities. As these families relocated, some brought existing gang affiliations, leading to the establishment of Sureño subsets in new areas. However, specific documented cases detailing individual family relocations and the subsequent formation of Sureño branches in Northern California are limited in publicly available sources. Anecdotal accounts suggest that since the 1970s, the migration of families, particularly those of Mexican descent, into Northern California for employment opportunities contributed to the formation of Sureño-affiliated gangs. Children of these families, facing conflicts with existing Norteño gangs, reportedly established their own groups aligned with Sureño traditions. For instance, Salinas is noted as one of the first cities to experience this phenomenon, with the presence of Sureño gangs solidifying by the early 1990s. The Sureños, originating from Southern California, have extended their influence into several Northern California cities. Here's an overview of their presence in key areas. In Stockton, Sureño-affiliated gangs such as Vicky's Town and Barrio Mojado Sureño have established a presence. These groups are involved in various criminal activities, including drug trafficking and violent crimes. Despite their presence, community observations suggest that Stockton has a relatively lower concentration of Sureño activity compared to other Northern California cities. Salinas has experienced significant gang-related violence, particularly between Norteños and Sureños. In 2009, this rivalry culminated in 29 gang-related murders, highlighting the intense conflict between these groups. The presence of Sureños in Salinas has contributed to ongoing turf wars and public safety concerns. San Jose has witnessed violent incidents linked to Sureño gangs. For instance, in February 2025, a 15-year-old named David Gutierrez was fatally stabbed at Santana Row by individuals associated with the Barrio Sureño town gang. This incident underscores the active and sometimes violent presence of Sureño-affiliated groups in the city. Sacramento hosts Sureño gangs such as Angelino Heights, which have established themselves in the area. These groups are involved in various criminal activities, contributing to the complex gang landscape of the city. Fresno presents a unique gang dynamic with the dominance of the Fresno Bulldogs, an independent gang unaffiliated with both Norteños and Sureños. Despite this, Sureño gangs have attempted to establish a foothold in the area, leading to conflicts and a complex gang environment. That's how the Sureños expanded deep into Northern California. The battles, the alliances, and the power plays continue to shape the streets today. If you want more real crime stories like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Stay sharp until next time.